still alive.
Welcome back to SuperSport Park, where we have one extremely happy team here. South Africa will be ecstatic with the fact they've wrapped this up in 2 test matches. It's a 3-test series. At one stage it was going to be a 4-test series, so it's a little bit of disappointment that it was reduced to 3. But South Africa winning this one by 135 runs. Convincing fashion, and the star, of course, was Lungi Truman Ngidi. Magnificent stuff from him, picking up 6 for 39. Okay, it's time for us to go to the presentation now and join Sean Pollock.
Welcome to the post-match presentation of the Sunfall Test match between South Africa and India. First of all, we'd like to thank Sunfall for their continued support of Test cricket in this country. It is really appreciated. To introduce you to the post-match presentation party, we've got John Wright, President of Northern's Cricket Association, Shabir Mohammed, the Wilton Group Gauteng Operations Manager. And before we speak to the Indian captain, first of all, just to let you know, the Sunfall Education Trust, which is money raised for 4s, 6s and wickets in each test match, has raised 233,000 in this test match. So that goes to a worthy cause. Okay, I'd like to invite Virat Kohli to come up and have a word with me. Fred, hard lines, obviously disappointing for you, but on that kind of surface, do you think that gave you your best chance so far?
Yeah, I mean, we thought the wicket was really flat to play. You know, it was quite surprising. When we went in, I saw the pitch. You know, I told the guys it looks very different from what we saw before toss. And then, you know, we thought we have our best chance to put up some runs on the board. Especially after, you know, the way South Africa lost wickets in the first innings. I thought we gained momentum from that. And we should have capitalized. You know, we were in a position to get the lead also at one stage. You know, if we could have had a big partnership, but we failed to convert that again. And yeah, that's something that, you know, we have let ourselves down with from the first game into the second game as well. The bowlers again have stuck to their guns, and, you know, they've done the job for us. But it's the batsmen who've let the team down again, and that's why we stand here.
Yourself personally, you played superbly for your 153. You must have been happy with your form and your intensity and energy. When you go back to the hotel, do you just fall asleep at night? Because it seems like you've got such intensity to everything that you do on this field.
Well, the thinking is pretty simple. You know, I wanna leave everything on the field for my country, for my team, and that's the way I play every game that I've played till now, and I'll continue to do that. Look, the 150 means nothing right now because you know, we've lost the game and the series. And if we would have won the series, even if I got a 50 for you know, winning the game for my team, that would have mattered to me more, or even a 30 as well. But having not won the game, you know, personal milestones do not matter to me at all, and that's not something that I'll be happy about just because of the way we lost this test match. And yeah, look, you go out there, you give your best shot every time that you go in, and you know, as a team, you want to do that collectively. And you know, we tried our best. We were just not good enough, and South Africa was better than us in every department, especially fielding. And you know, that's why they are the winners, and they deserve to be.
Okay, well played in the series so far yourself, and we look forward to a good performance from India in the third match. Hope it goes well then.
Thank you, Sean. Cheers.
Thank you. That's the thoughts of Virat Kohli. Next of all, we'd like to have a chat with the winning captain, Faf du Plessis. Faf, can you come up and have a word with us? Okay. Faf, how does that sound? You've wrapped up the series 2-0, you've won it, and it's done and dusted.
That sounds really good, Polly. Obviously, over the last 5 days, it took a lot of hard work. This was one of the harder test matches in terms of you had to put a lot in. Bowling was tough, batting was tough. But over the 5 days, I thought we were on top pretty much most of the time. And to wrap it up today like the way we did, and I thought especially in the field, we were amazing. So the boys were keen to wrap it up pretty quickly.
Yeah, how much character was required when you come here? The surface didn't play anything like you would have anticipated, and it was a real challenge even for the fast bowlers. So are you impressed with the character you guys showed?
That was our main focus after day one. We were very disappointed in that last 45 minutes of day one. I thought we gave India a sniff, and our chat after the day was that we were going to need a little bit more character in the next few days and stand up and make sure that we fight. And we did that the next morning with the tail, got a lot of runs, and the next 3 days we did exactly that. So incredible amount of character over the last 4 days.
How important do you think that score in the first innings where a couple of guys got in and got you a decent score in the context of the match once you've seen how the surface played? Important?
Yeah, like I said, I think we were a little bit short in the first innings. I thought we needed to get 400, especially from the position we were in, that really slow on day one. But for me, the vital time was when we batted the second innings, when we just kept pushing that scoring that they're going to need in the last innings to get it to 270 or 280. We knew anything over 250 was going to be really challenging, and that's why yesterday the guys were grinding hard to make sure that we can get above 250.
Word for the debutant, Lungi Ngidi?
Special performance. We incredibly happy in that dressing room for him. He's a great guy, and we welcome him to the team, and obviously an amazing future that lies ahead. But always the thing that I look at first and foremost is the person's personality, and he's a fantastic human being. So we're looking forward to seeing him and KG in a few years carrying this national attack.
Okay, last question before I let you go. Taking into context the two fielders, the better catch, Morne or AB?
Morne, definitely. Definitely. Morne is going to tell us a lot about that catch over the next few weeks. And as you could see, that celebration, he was pretty pumped. But to see those long legs stride like that across the field is something, it's a beautiful sight.
Okay, well done. You can be proud of your team. We look forward to the third match at the Wanderers.
Yes, thank you. See you there.
Okay, next of all, had to decide on man of the matches, some quality batting performances from South Africa in their first innings, but eventually the debutant picking up 6 for 39 in the second innings, Lungasani Ngidi. Lungi, superbly done. Do you feel like you have to pinch yourself at this moment?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment it hasn't really sunk in, but I'm very chuffed with my performance and I'm just very happy at the moment.
If we look a week ago, not in the squad, you drafted in, you come and you play, you pick up 6 for 39 in the second innings. It's on your home ground, you get to go up the honours board, your name will be there along some of the greats who've performed here. Just a fantastic test match for you.
Yeah, it's been a quick turnaround for me. I mean, there's been some good form in terms of franchise cricket bowling, so you know, when I got the call up, I felt like I was in good nick, so I just came out here to try pretty much showcase what I can do, and lucky enough it was on my home ground. The support was great and it was just a great moment.
And what was the strategy for yourself? Just you obviously got a game plan in provincial cricket to bring that same game plan here to the international arena?
Yeah, I mean the basics, keep it simple, you know, hang it outside off. There was a bit of movement off the deck as we could see, and you know that just seemed to work. The odd one that nips back seemed to get the wicket, so I just kept keeping the basics. Yeah.
You say there was some movement off the deck, but it wasn't the easiest surface to play at. I mean, I know you've only played 10 first-class games and probably half of them on this ground. It wasn't the fastest SuperSport pitch you've ever played on.
No, definitely it wasn't. But you know, adapting to conditions at the time was important. So there wasn't time to think about what could have been. What we were given, we had to make do with, and you know, we pretty much just put them under pressure as much as we could, try to keep them quiet, and that seemed to work.
Well, brilliantly done. Top-class bowling, a wonderful start to your test career, and I hope it goes from strength to strength.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so those are the thoughts from the post-match presentation. The captains and the man of the match, a special performance on debut from Lungi. The next test match we're taking at the Wanderers, we look forward to your company then.
So there you go. Lungi Ngidi, magnificent stuff from him. 6 for 39 in the second innings. 7 for 90 overall in the test match. 7th best for South Africa on debut. Magnificent work from him. What a big smile. It's going to be a day that he's going to remember for a long time, and a trophy that's going to take pride of place, that's for sure, in his house. So we've just got another test match to go as well. Let's not forget about this. These test matches provided some magnificent cricket. And we do have another one coming up. And that is the third one at the Wanderers. And that's going to be starting on the 24th of January. And as per normal on SuperSport 2, we've had terrific action so far in the first couple of test matches. Make sure you don't miss the third one as well, because that Wanderers track is going to be willing, I'm sure, as well, and it's a wonderful theatre, the Wanderers, for Test match cricket, so it's something you're all going to enjoy. Now, all the people that were into this Test match, we had good crowds, by the way, on the weekend, and those that were here today would have thoroughly enjoyed what they saw today, a memorable day with a new star with the horizon. And of course, South Africa now winning the series. And it's got everyone pretty pumped up about cricket in this country, which is great to see. It is going to be a little bit unusual, that next Test match, by the way. It's going to be starting on a Wednesday, so let's not forget that. And we want to see it go a long way into the weekend as well. There he is. He's off to the presser with Lorato, the South African press liaison officer. You're not going to be able to wipe that smile off him for a long, long time. Alrighty, what a Test match this has been by South Africa. A series win, and Ngidi was absolutely sensational. We'll see the Wanderers.
The crowd is ready for action, ready for high-octane cricket.
What a Test match this promises to be. Conditions are magnificent. Had a fascinating test, an exciting test in Cape Town, and this one promises to be very much the same.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's a really good shot, this time in the gap.
A good crowd in here as well, about 12,500 people who are in to watch the action.
That's gone for 4. Well, that's nicely played again, just opening the blade.
Up in the air, and it lands. Oh, where are you going? Where are you going? Oh, Vernon Philander.
It's day number 2, a day of fight for South Africa and for India, an opportunity to take the initiative.
Beautifully played by Faf du Plessis.
It's bowled him, looking to whip it on the onside. Middle stump has been knocked back. All out for 335. One's one. Direct hits, that could be out. I think that's out. I think that is magnificent. Ngidi, absolutely magnificent from Ngidi, the debutant. He's buzzing. So he means business.
Just like that. Number 1 for Lungisani Ngidi.
One man that's standing firm for India, Virat Kohli.
This test match is set up. Not really sure which way it's going to go. Delicately poised.
Quick single. He liked that. Brilliant stuff from Virat Kohli. This has been an amazing knock. Magnificent stuff from King Kohli.
Yes, fabulous 100 that. One of the better 100s you will ever get to see. What an important innings this is in the context of the series.
We are so looking forward to today. Again, we'll say we're not entirely sure which way it will go.
Who can call it? Go in either direction.
Dicey game. Hope you can enjoy what's coming up.
When the opposition guy has scored 150, then you want to show you're not too far behind. That's a great, great incentive for AB de Villiers. If Virat can do it, I can do it as well.
That's nicely played. He calls for 2, but he's going to get 4 right off the middle of the bat from de Villiers. And he's gloved it. That ball just took off. De Villiers is looking to run it down to third man once again. And the breakthrough that India have been searching for. The big wicket of AB de Villiers.
In the air, what a catch. Good catch that. Bumrah, very good catch.
287 to get a record chase at SuperSport Park. However, records are meant to be broken.
Bowled them. Kept low inside edge onto the stumps.
That's him. The finger will go up. Lungi Ngidi once again. Kohli, the big fish.
Doesn't get better for Ngidi on debut. Massive wicket of Virat Kohli.
we're greeted by another beautiful day in Centurion. It's the final day in this second Sunfoil Freedom Test between South Africa and India. The bowlers to come in and try and finish the job.
Someone's got to fight. That's the bottom line. Someone's got to fight for India.
I can't see India surviving 98 overs.
Goes after this one. It's in the air. Brilliant! Morne Morkel, you little beauty! He's covered all that ground. He's launched himself into the air. And have a look at the celebrations. What a bit of athleticism from Morne Morkel.
Series, and if you would have.
Cries of catcher, and it should be out. It is out. The debutant has got Pfeiffer. Magnificent stuff from Ngidi. Pfeiffer. What a day to remember. Massive stuff from the new guy.
You make me feel so alive. You make me feel so alive.
Welcome back. We are still at SuperSport Park, and victory just done by 135 runs for South Africa. Also, not just a victory in this test match, a victory in the series as well. A couple of gentlemen are alongside me, Sunny Gavaskar as well as Graham Smith. Go to you first, Graham. Your thoughts on the victory, on how hard South Africa have had to work in the two test matches to clinch the series.
Yeah, there's been real moments of interest, competitive cricket. It's been exciting to watch over the last, 9 days of Test cricket. And, you know, South Africa have always just had that little bit extra on India, and that's the reason they 2-0 up. They've played superb cricket. They've had contributions all around with both bat and ball. They've been excellent in the field. And they would have been nervous coming into the series. India would have been motivated. We've heard their talk about how they really believed this was their opportunity to win here in South Africa. But in the end, they've been comprehensively beaten by this Protea team.
Tight margins, though, and I'm coming to you, Sonny, but tight margins, isn't it, with regard to test match cricket? Because sometimes you look at scorecards and the victory is huge, but when you think back about what's gone on in the test, there are moments where you think it might have gone the other way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's number one and number two team in the world. You expect it to be tight. You expect the game to be close. And often in those type of series, there'll be a breaking point somewhere. And when the pressure gets too much, or who will have a bit more with both bat and ball, or who will take that catch or get the run out. And I often used to, when I was captain, used to talk about the breaking point somewhere in the test match. When the game is on the line, we must have more than our opposition. And in this series, South Africa's had more than India.
Speak about that, particularly breaking points, turning points, critical moments within the two test matches, and related to when India have had more than other teams in their own conditions back at home.
Well, clearly South Africa had the better of the breaking points. That you could see from the way they seized the opportunities in Cape Town on a pitch where India really bowled well to restrict the South Africans to not too many. Then they bowled India out again for not too many. So basically, wherever the opportunity has presented itself, South Africans have given it just a little bit extra. Morne Morkel's catch today, for example, that was a fantastic catch. Now, these are things, where you give a little more. The application, determination was certainly South Africa's strength in this series. Because if you actually have a look at it, there was very little to choose between the two sides. Yes, the margin of victory, 135, would suggest that it's a huge win. It's a huge win, no question about it. But yesterday, when India started their chase, they were in with a very good chance. If they had got off to a good start, who knows what would have happened. But they were not allowed to get off to that start. Bit of luck with the ball keeping low, but still, sometimes you need luck to go your way. But South Africa clearly the side with a greater desire to win.
A look at the summary of this test match. 335 South Africa, having won the toss and batted first. 335 looked like it could be a whole lot more at some point. And they had to scrap somewhat to end up getting to the 335. Markram with 94. Some runs also for the skipper, who kept things together when wickets had fallen, and they were trying to kind of guide the ship once again. 307, and that innings of 153, it stands out actually. Get a thought from you, Graham, with regard to that innings. 258 for South Africa, and then the victory, 151 all out for India. But let's speak a little bit about Virat Kohli and his 153. That gets them to 307, which is still behind what South Africa had.
Yeah, I mean, the Indian captain gave it his all. I mean, he produced an incredible innings under pressure. He just had no support throughout the game, no other batter. India went in with a batter less, 5 batters, not one other person in that lineup produced a performance that could even get close to the way that he played. He played an incredible innings. He played with intensity. His determination was terrific to watch, and it was great to be able to watch a top cricketer, a top batter at work and produce a performance like that.
Is there too much reliance on this man, Sonny?
Yes. Because when he doesn't score, like he did score in the second innings, didn't score in the first test, India struggled. The problem again was when he got 153, and what an outstanding innings that 153 was. He had very little support again. 46 from Murali Vijay was the second highest score. So unless everybody pulls in, even with baby partnerships, 30, 40, that didn't quite happen. So, and South Africa got those baby partnership, Du Plessis with Maharaj and with Rabada in both the test matches, gave South Africa those extra runs that eventually made the difference.
I'm looking there at most hundreds for India. He's on 21, but incredible also is his conversion rate, because he's got less 50s than 100s in test match cricket. So he keeps churning out the runs. How many of the others, though, can stick with him? And I'm speaking particularly about in other conditions, because it seemed not a problem for them when they're at home.
I just got the feeling somehow watching them in the first test that they were just a little bit unsure of themselves. They were mesmerized by the moving ball, so hanging their bats out and got out in Cape Town. And even in this game, you could see that when Philander bowls, he bowls outside the off stump. He actually starts from 4th stump. So you can clearly leave him. But the Indians have been following him. Sometimes you nick it, sometimes you play and miss. But if somebody getting 100 has nobody getting another 80 or 90, you're not going to get a big score. 46 is not enough. And that is where India failed. India just did not have anybody to support Virat Kohli in the batting department.
Speak a little bit also about the 5 wickets thing, or 5 batsmen thing, where in terms of trying to balance the side, and many had said prior to India coming in, I think you mentioned it, Graham, that this is the side they feel can take 20 wickets abroad, and therefore they should be okay. Is that the right balance? Should they go that balance? Are they a batter short? Do they have too many bowlers?
Well, I think that when you play overseas, at least for the first couple of test matches, you should go with 6 batsmen, because the conditions are not something that you're used to. So you've got to give your batting just a little bit of cushion. That didn't quite happen in both these test matches. They went in with 5 batsmen, depending on Ashwin and Pandya and Parthiv Patel, to maybe bulk up the runs. That didn't quite happen. That will not happen on a consistent basis overseas. Maybe on Indian pitches, it might happen. And this was pretty much like an Indian pitch. And that's why there was always a hope that because it's like an Indian pitch, this turn for Ashwin, the ball's not really climbing all that much, that India would be able to put one across South Africa.
Yeah, there's a look at their numbers, and it's glaring. As you look at the numbers, how things did go there. Those who didn't play would have hoped to get opportunities here. And the man I'm looking at is Rahane, who the Indian media certainly spoke about a lot. Graham, as you look down that list and you look at those names of the Indian batsmen, South Africa no doubt would have picked out 2 names in Pujara and Kohli. But did you feel that there were others there that could have turned up in South Africa and hurt South Africa's bowling lineup?
Well, Murali Vijay's got a lot of experience. I mean, he was quite outspoken that he was confident about the way that he can perform. He has got runs in South Africa before, but I think the 2 key batters were always going to be Pujara and Kohli at 3 and 4. They were going to be key to the top order holding themselves together. Pujara hasn't really given himself a chance. He's run himself out twice in this test match, so we don't even know how he's batting at the moment. But, Rohit Sharma for me was the one selection. I mean, he's shown incredible performances over the short formats when they're in the blue, the 2020s, the one days, but he hasn't been able to really transfer that to the test side. And I think technically he's got a few challenges, mentally he's got a few challenges, and I was surprised coming to South Africa that they didn't look at someone like Rahane, who's performed so well in these type of conditions. He's technically, well suited to the bouncing ball. He, granted, he maybe lacked a bit of confidence at the back end of the Indian season, but I thought they would have started with him.
Talk us through the whole sort of selection scenario where Rahane is not preferred, despite the fact that overseas, and I guess also you've got to go to the balancing of not having the touch in your own season and therefore not quite earning the chance to play when you go away, and leaving sort of the man in possession being the one who gets in the side.
Well, he's the vice captain of the team, so it would have been a tough call for him because he sits in the selection committee as well, towards his selection committee, I believe. And it would have been a tough call for him to accept that he was not being considered, because his overseas record is really, really very good. Here he's I think he got 3 half centuries in 4 innings the last time India was here. Australia has got a very good record. England's got hundreds over there. So one would have thought that if he's out of form, never mind. But he's the kind of player who likes the ball to come onto the bat. Didn't quite happen in India, so he was struggling a little bit, and sometimes you can go through a bad patch. So the question is that if Virat Kohli went through a bad patch, would anybody think in terms of dropping him? No. And I'm not comparing Virat and Ajinkya Rahane. But sometimes, there is class that you see, and therefore that class has to be given, the chance to fail. And he had failed in India. But then, once you come overseas, I thought that he should have been picked.
Horses for courses, would that not have come up within the meetings, the selections, in trying to figure out who it is who has done well where and why you should have them in?
Of course, because you've got to think about what happened on previous tours. On previous tours, if somebody has done well, he pretty much stands a very good chance of being picked for this trip as well. So that didn't quite happen. 6 batsmen, 4 bowlers has been India's mantra when they go overseas. Now trying to get 5 batsmen, 5 bowlers, out of which 1 bowler is not going to bowl you the number of overs that you want. So you might as well pick a 6th batsman, a proper batsman, than a half cricketer. Sometimes he might get you a wicket or 2, sometimes he might get you some runs. So that kind of thing has to be looked at for the next test match.
Yeah, I agree with Sunny. I mean, Sunny, all the talk coming here to South Africa was the fact that India had a bowling attack that could take 20 wickets, and it's almost like they've mixed and matched their team to find another bowler. So, they were so confident about taking 20 wickets. Did they need to pick that extra all-rounder or bowler? Should they not have gone for a frontline batter? What they're saying is that Pandya is almost the exact same batter as Rahane, and I don't think that's the case. I always thought coming out of the type of surfaces that South Africa would play on, that if India could get totals, their bowling attack would be able to produce the results.
Perhaps it's Pandya and Ashwin are the same as Rahane in their thinking, doubling up or what. Not that it's correct, because it's proved not to be so. In terms of winning away from home, it's a stumbling block. Ravi Shastri said that this side will be defined by this year, because they've got to go away quite a whole lot. They've come here to South Africa, admittedly the hardest place to turn up for batsmen, and plainly they've failed the test because they've lost the series. How much hope then, as they go from here to the other 2 places, that will be difficult?
Well, I wouldn't blame this Indian team too much, for the simple reason they didn't really have enough days to get acclimatized to the South African conditions. They finished the series in India on the 24th of December, Christmas Eve. They left on the 28th, and they were playing a test match on the 5th. So it was never going to be easy to acclimatize. But that's gone now. And I think what the BCCI and the team's think tank over here must do now is to plan ahead for England and plan ahead for Australia. They've got to go to England, they've got to go to Australia well in advance and get some practice. The thing is, that I know it was said that what are we going to get by playing a couple of practice matches where some guys get 50s and you know, we would rather make practice conditions similar to what we might get. But in practice, if you get out, you still get to bat. You carry on. In a match, you're out. Practice match or whatever. So it's important to get that under your belt. Get time out in the middle, whether as a bowler or as a batsman. And that's why I'm hoping that for England, which is in June, July, that there will be a lot of thought put in the scheduling of these warm-up matches. And there should be proper warm-up matches. This all 16 players coming and playing matches is not the way to play cricket. You play a proper first-class cricket and you get used to it. So have 2 or 3 first-class matches, and same in Australia. So there is enough opportunity. We are in January. England is in June, July. Australia is in December. Enough time for the BCCI to plan and make sure that they, by their scheduling, will give this team, and this is a talented team. Yes, this time they were found wanting in temperament and technique in these 2 matches, but this is a very talented team. Give this talented team every opportunity to turn it around in England and in Australia.
Graham, have picked your brain, no doubt. To win in England, of particular importance, is what?
I was fortunate enough to be very successful there as a team, and I think preparation is obviously key. Understanding how to win away from home, the conditions, it will be a duke ball. For India, it's going to be the swinging ball, generally, how they cope with that, how they cope with the weather conditions, the cold for them coming from really hot climates. So preparation is going to be the key, and also the mental resilience of your team. You know, it's a long tour, an England tour. There's a lot of pressure from the media. The Indian team will be used to that, and how they manage the crowds and the performances on the day is going to be important.
Yeah, well, just picking Sonny's brain because he's here. Let's go over to the South African side now. Great moments for them because they clinched the series. They knew it was going to be a tough series. Here are a few of them talking to Sean Pollard.
Got Dean Elgar with me. Dean, that must be a really special feeling. You already wrapped up the series 2-0 and an opportunity to go 3-0 at the Wanderers.
Yeah, very happy with the way this second test has gone for us. We knew coming in here it looked a little bit like unfamiliar conditions with regards to the wicket, which is a bit of a debate. But so be it. We stopped complaining and we just had to crack on and find a way to try and beat them in the second test. And extremely happy for certain individuals within our side. Lungi playing his first test, coming in and just showing his class and something that he can really work on and grow for us.
What allowed you guys to dominate was that first inning score. All the top 6 really applied themselves, managed to get a big score. Important?
Very much. I mean, the runs were quite ugly, and but very effective in the long run. We knew maybe over 300 runs was possibly a lot over par on that kind of surface, and knowing that it's going to deteriorate quite a bit going into day 4 and 5, which was quite important for us. And second innings runs was also very important for us, and having a lead going into our second innings is also crucial for us going into this game.
Yeah, you mentioned that second innings. I mean, you and AB got together at 3 for 2. What were the feelings going on there? Was there pressure? What were you thinking? And is it easy when AB comes to the crease? Does he sort of calm things down?
We're under the pump. I mean, it just explains itself, that kind of scenario. But AB's got a lot of experience. I'm gaining experience at this level still, and it was nice to have a guy with a calming influence. So yeah, we knew it was very important for us to try and push on and try and just stabilise the innings a little bit, knowing that the surface is obviously a little bit abrasive and the spinner's going to come into the fold. But yeah, luckily luck was on our side as well, with a few chances that went for us this time, and we utilised it to our fullest.
In the batting preparation, did you prepare for as much turn as you received on day 1?
No, I think the wickets we had were all nipping around and a lot of sea movement for the bowlers, and it was very unfamiliar conditions that we experienced at Centurion. It's unlike the ground. I play a lot of 4-day cricket here, and it's something I've never really experienced here before. So yeah, it was quite unfamiliar, but as a cricketer, you got to adapt. That's quite a big thing in Test cricket. You got to be able to adapt to certain conditions, and luckily we adapted accordingly.
Okay, before I let you go and speak to Vernon, one question: who was the better catch, Mornay or AB?
It's definitely Mornay's, because he'll be the first guy to tell you he was surprised he caught that.
Okay, so we're going to get all 3 of them to answer who took the better catch. Thanks for speaking to us, Dina. Next we've got Vernon Philander coming to join us. Vern, you must be happy as a bowling unit to have picked up those 20 wickets to win this Test series.
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. I think, obviously arriving here on day one and obviously having a look at the wicket, obviously not what we wanted, but I think, outstanding effort from the bowlers to pick up 20 wickets on the deck.
Seem to have a nice balanced attack, don't you? I mean, in Cape Town, that was suited to you and you managed to clean up. But then coming here, there wasn't as much pace in it. It was more difficult for a man of your skills. But the other three guys managed to step up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, my role changed obviously a slight bit. I had to be the one that obviously, make sure that I keep the tap closed on the one side, to obviously apply the pressure, keep it tight and allow the quicks to obviously run in and strike. And I think, what an absolute wonderful spell by Lungi and Giddy, in the second deck. And, the way Cage has been bowling the whole game as well as Morne. It's obviously absolute fun, bowling with a trio.
And the role you played with Lungi after this first wicket he picked up, he spoke to us and said that he had got some advice to you to come around the wicket and he managed to get that wicket. So with a bit of a mentoring role for him?
Yeah, I think it's always good, having young bloods, with some pace. I think, he's obviously have the skill, and I just felt, obviously bowling over the wicket to the lefty, the ball was obviously, leaving him quite sharply. So coming around, obviously, obviously tightening up, tying up the angle, and obviously, find the edge of the lefty.
And give us some insight into how you feel the surface played.
Yeah, I felt it was, obviously a touch on the slow side. But as I said, we obviously have three quicks, which can run in, obviously hit the deck, obviously ball bounce and obviously make life uncomfortable. So like I said, my role obviously, changed, obviously slight bit from the last game. So I had to obviously make sure that I keep it tight and, obviously apply the pressure from the one end and allow these guys to strike.
Okay, we're running a poll. Morne Morkel's catch or AB de Villiers' catch?
Morne, absolutely. I think, Morne was surprised himself, after he's taken it. But, yeah, what a wonderful fielding display as well. I think, there was obviously catches been taken, run-outs been taken, in this match, which obviously turned his game on its head. And I think a wonderful, fielding display,
Okay, perfect. Sticking up for your bowling, mate. We love that. Thanks, Vern. Thanks for your thoughts. Next, we've got one more player to speak to from the Proteas, Kagiso Rabada. KG, you bowled superbly again, #1 in the world, and you backed it up with another quality performance.
Yeah, we knew that we could bury these guys in this test match and we had the opportunity to win the series. So it was very crucial for us to give it our all once more.
We noticed that you had a wonderful battle there with Virat Kohli. You were at each other, you were competing as hard as you would expect at the test arena.
Yeah, it's been like that ever since we played against India. I've always come hard at him, and he's one not to back down from a challenge. So I enjoy those type of challenges. Yeah, he thrives on it and I thrive on it, so I guess do you leave him alone or do you chirp him again next time? Because we both thrive on that sort of stuff, so let's see.
Okay, and give us a word for Lungi. I think he was superb in that second innings to be able to pick up 6 on his test debut. You must be chuffed for him.
Yes, leading up to the test match he was looking extremely good, bowling in the nets and in the strip here when we were bowling. Just before the day before the game, he was looking very good, getting some nice bounce and bowling some good pace, nipping the ball a bit, and he showed that in this test match. So yeah, he's got a lot of X factor, and hopefully he carries on and he just moves from strength to strength.
And for the next 10 years, we can watch KG and Lungi working in tandem as they go through and play against the different teams.
Yeah, I guess it's not about us. There are other quality bowlers as well. So I'm excited for the future. There's myself, there's Duan, there's Lungi, Andy Les there. There's a lot of bowlers that are coming up. Even Temba's bowling, Antian is the brain is bowling. So yeah, a lot of seamers. Looking forward.
And your batting's still looking as good as ever. When are we going to get a nice big score from you?
Jeepers, yeah. I'm trying. At least I can hang in there, bat a couple of balls with the in batter, but just keep working at it. Hopefully I don't move from strength to. Hopefully I move from strength to strength and not stay at the same level, getting out in the same ways.
Okay, last question for you. We're running a poll. Who took the better catch, AB de Villiers or Morne Morkel? I know they were both of your bowling, so you'd appreciate them both. But whose was better?
I think it's all relative. If AB was here, he probably would have taken it with both hands. But
you're throwing Morne under the bus?
No. In the relativity of it, Moras's catch is far better.
You also got to remember he's got the long legs, so you only had to take a lot of strides to get into that thing. So you must appreciate that.
Yes, he doesn't drop a lot. Actually, he's got nice big hands, so you're always in with a chance. He's got great technique also when he catches it. The only problem is, can he get there? And he got there, so that was excellent.
Okay, KG, thanks very much for speaking to us. Okay, so the news from inside the squad is definitely the best catch, Morne Morkel.
You've got to love that. You've got to absolutely love that. Morne Morkel, he's been around for a long time. You cannot begrudge him this catch. Graham, you're the best one to comment on this, actually. Him as a guy, Morne Morkel, and as a fielder. Look at how he celebrates after he takes it.
Well, we all can see how long his legs are, how long his limbs are, but one thing you won't know is he's also one of the clumsiest men around. I mean, if someone's going to trip over something or fall or catch it, fall over at training and look awkward, it's going to be Morne. So he had to pump those legs high and get there, and you can just see the reaction from the rest of the team. How, when he bats and when he fields, it's always a bit of a laughing, and the guys get involved, and they would have been super happy for him.
Absolutely. I tell you what, we ask you all at home, send in your tweets. It should be a poll, actually. Whose was the better catch? It's not often you'd be asking who's taken a better catch between Morne Morkel and A.B. de Villiers.
The problem you have is that you expect AB to take that because he's so outstanding in the field. Morne's going to win just by the fact that he took it.
You never know. Ask Sonny here. Sonny, your thoughts?
Morne Morkel. Oh. No question.
Okay,
no question.
Blown me out the water there.
Because for me, the way he kept his eye on the ball and ran towards the ball, and then last moment diving, and with the hands cupped in just the right way. So it was technically a very good catch as well.
Yeah, well, fantastic for Morne Morkel, and nice to see as well that they were quite happy, the three of them speaking to them. I want to speak about South Africa's bowling attack and going forward, and how or why people just turn up all the time.
Well, I mean, I think Ngidi made it look a lot easier than it normally is. I think to come and play on the surface, he adapted well. He bowled well with the reverse swinging ball, and he just looked like he belonged. And I think that was the incredible thing. It's not always easy. We've seen the long history of international cricket, a lot of debutants can struggle. It was just wonderful to see. I think he's blessed with an environment that is set up for youngsters to come in and be successful. He's got good experience around him in that attack that can offer him good insight and calmness. And I think Faf du Plessis tactically is a very smart captain. So all of that in the pot kind of helps him a little bit to give him the platform to perform. And then it was over to him, and boy, did he slam that door down. He bowled a beautiful spell, 6 wickets on debut, the wicket of Virat Kohli. You couldn't take the smile off his face, and it certainly is a performance to celebrate.
A word from you, Sonny, as a neutral.
Very, very impressive. Very impressive. Because, one, he never looked phased at all. You can actually sense a debutant's nervousness. You never felt for a moment that he was nervous. And because he bowled straight away on the right spot, getting wickets in the first innings, he in fact got a wicket with that run out. So I think the confidence level was very high. But the way he's getting the ball to move both ways, he doesn't get the new ball. He gets the slightly older ball. And the movement that he gets, the bounce that he gets, he's going to take many more 6-4s in the future.
Okay, thank you for your thoughts, Sonny. Thank you, Graham, as well. We'll shift and go to others with regard to thoughts on this test match. Don't go too far away. And as we go for a break, what about Ngidi's day? How he began, Ngidi's test match, wickets that he's taken, and also just what happened in the whole test match. Fantastic for the young man, and it is only a beginning. So important that you start well in international cricket, and this is certainly a fantastic start for him. Welcome back. Yeah, we're talking about the end of this test match, the second test match between South Africa and India. Very good for South Africa, a win, a clinching of the series as well. Two fast bowlers alongside here, Mikey Holding as well as Sean Pollock. Your thoughts, gents, just generally about how things have gone, sticking points, breaking points and such in the test match. And I suppose, Sean, you can refer back to the first test match as well in this battle between number 1 and 2.
I think it was always going to be a challenge for how the Indian batsmen adjusted to playing here in South Africa. I think their bowlers have done a pretty good job. They've picked up 20 wickets in both games. They've bowled South Africa out twice. But technically wise, just not able to deal with what they were faced with here in South Africa, and not be able to put those runs on the board that they're required to be competitive. So I think that that's been the issue for me, even on a surface like this, which wasn't that difficult to bat on as far as subcontinent standard goes.
As far as subcontinent standard goes, that's good. Okay, I'll come back to you on that. But Mikey, your thoughts just generally on how things have gone, on how both these sides have gone in conditions and also in terms of the battle, I guess, which are determined by the conditions.
I'm in Polly's boat. I think if you remember from that very first test match in Cape Town, I made reference to the fact that, okay, everybody's talking about how the Indian bowlers will go, but it's also important how many runs they put on the board. And they have been unable to really put enough runs on the board to make it important. Their bowlers have done well under the circumstances. A lot of the Indian bowlers are not accustomed to be bowling outside of England, but at the same time, they get conditions outside of England that seem to favour them a bit more. Who wouldn't be, as a fast bowler, happy to be bowling outside of India rather than inside of India? So they have done well in South Africa. The batting is what needs to step up. They have some guys who have shown in the past that they are good players. They need to step up, put runs on the board.
Okay. I guess it's not as simple when the conditions are a little bit different to when they play at home, and essentially that was always going to be the test. Your thoughts on their lineup in essence, because Sonny and Graham were here talking about Pujara and Kohli kind of as the only guys who are there and probably feared by South Africa.
Yeah, I think Pujara and Kohli are their key. I mean, Kohli was superb. He played some wonderful innings, and there was a performance from Pandya in Cape Town, which sort of took the limelight from a batting perspective. But for me, it does go down to preparation. I mean, if we're going to go to Australia, yes, let's just have some nets and we should be able to compete. But if we go into India and we say we're going to play no practice games and then we're going to go and face the strength of their spin bowling on turning surfaces, I think we're going to be found wanting without some match preparation. And I know they talked about the nets they came in, but and I know schedules don't allow it, but if it's a real contest to come and play against the second best team in the world on completely foreign conditions to what you normally face, I just felt like they probably needed to prepare a little bit differently to make sure, you know, when you're playing at this top level and it's 1 versus 2, the opportunities to dominate and win a match are going to be few and far between. So your skills have to be so sharp that when that moment presents itself, you can take it with both hands and run with it. And I don't think their skills were sharp enough. I mean, the fact that they changed the batting order after one game, Shika comes in, doesn't deal with the short ball, he goes out, means that they weren't settled on what exactly they wanted. And I just think the preparation, I think they could have given themselves a better chance. Maybe they still would have lost, but I think it would have given them a better chance.
I think they could have also done something about the team selection as well. I am still wondering why Rahane isn't playing in any of these test matches. They say he's out of form, but he has an excellent record overseas. I think this is overseas, although Polly is saying it's not quite. But he has an excellent record, so I'm not too sure why he's in the team.
Yeah. And if you win, you're okay with your decisions, whatever decisions you make. If you don't win, you're not necessarily okay. You get away with less, I guess, in as far as their selection is concerned.
Yeah, but I still think, you know, Pami, the end result is not always what you look at. You have to look at a process. And you have got to choose the right process and hope that you do then get you the right end result. If you're not worried about the process and all you're worried about is the end result, you will do a lot of things and end up with what you want sometimes, and sometimes you just won't. But the process is always going to be very important as far as I'm concerned. You know, I used to do a little bit of maths at school, and you don't just want to end up with the answer, because somebody can whisper the answer to you. You have to know the process. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
All right. Well, let's try and make sense of what happened in terms of difficulty of playing on the surface. And Sean Pollock has referred to it as an Indian surface as well. I wonder what you'll refer to it as. Hayes and Kepler, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. I just want to pick on a couple of things that were talked about there. And it is quite interesting that Sean was mentioning the fact about the lead-in and whatever, and kept alongside me. The first thing I want to get into here on the touchscreen is something that's very important in South Africa. Now, this is where it's all tough at the top. So let's just have a look at this. And I just want to focus here. It's overseas top order average in each country over the last 8 years. Now, Kepler, the fact that India, and let's have a look where they are, they're okay, obviously, when they're, oops, let me just go back there again. Sorry, I'm just going to stop that as we go. Sorry, one more go at that. The fact that India play at home, there's not too many dramas for them when they play at home. You can see that their average at home, the top three, the average in the last 8 years for India is there. But when you come to South Africa, Kepler, that means it's really, really tough here.
We often talk about it, and South Africa is definitely the most difficult place to bat for a top-order batsman. We saw most touring teams that come to South Africa, with the odd exception, their top-order struggles. So when you come over, you've got to prepare well. You've got to know exactly tactically and technically how you're going to go about your business. And that's where visiting sides lose a lot of test matches in this country.
Okay, so let me just give you the numbers. I mean, as we see on the touchscreen, if we can go back to the touchscreen, 25.29. I mean, it's 10 runs difference. The average, the top order average for overseas players when they play overseas in this country over the late 8 years. I can tell you that India, so far in this series, their average has been 14.6. So there's a reference, South Africa 25.29, and South Africa have been averaging 45 with their top three. So there's a massive difference here, but it's been tougher for India, of course. Right, let's go into this. Now, this is just an explanation of this pitch, and I just want to show you how slow this track was. What we've got to show you here, it's Morné Morkel, and it's Morné Morkel with the when he's playing with the old ball, the blue stream, and also with the new ball in the first test. So the old ball in the second test, new ball in the first test. And you can see that he's 137 k's per hour when he releases the ball. So let's keep going and have a further look now. You can see at the bounce, Kepler, there's a big reduction there at the bounce. Suddenly post-bounce, the ball holds in this ground at SuperSport Park longer, which is most unusual.
Well, it is, because normally you would assume that this venue, the ball would be quicker. So what it does is, when it gets too slower, you have more reaction time as far as batting is concerned. Now, of course, when the test match goes along and the bounce becomes uneven, then it becomes more difficult again. But there's no question that in Cape Town, the reaction time wasn't the same. And what made it even more difficult there was the ball was seaming around as well. So it was a very unusual pitch at this venue.
Okay, let's just keep going on the touchscreen, and we can just see where it finishes up. And you can see there's 35 k's per hour lost from the time released to the time it actually gets to the batsman. So that's a big difference. Now, the other thing to point out is it wasn't easy to bat on. This is A.B. de Villiers. He scored 8. He scored brilliantly. But have a look at these two deliveries, one on the 26, one on the 28. The red stream was in the 28, the blue in the 26. And the seam there from Bumrah was quite extraordinary off the surface.
And they basically bounce in exactly the same spot. So the one nipped back in, a couple of good deliveries from him in that second innings when he got the wickets. And then he's also got the ability to go the other way, which makes it pretty difficult from a batting point of view. It was interesting, though. A.B. de Villiers was deep in the crease. He had a good look at the ball. He gave himself some more time. And also very much an outlook where he wants to score and not just survive. So that's why he was successful. And Virat Kohli is the same, exactly the same sort of approach.
Righto, so there's a couple of balls that just seamed away. Back to the touchscreen, and we're going to look at variable bounce now. These are the wickets that fell with balls keeping low. That's obviously Markram, Amla, AB, and Murali Vijay.
Well, again, around the same area. The first two was with the new balls, so they kept low, they nipped back into the right-hander, giving the two right-handers no chance, really. And then the one to A.B. de Villiers took off from more or less the same length as well. So that gives you an indication, as the game progressed, the degree of difficulty the batsman had to deal with.
Okay, so there you go. There's an indication. The same area. I mean, that made it really tough here at SuperSport, the SuperSport Park. The other thing to look at, and this is a feature of South Africa's game now. Their bowlers, they're so quick to get this reverse swing going. And here's an example of KG when he got the reverse swing going. You can see one going away and one coming in towards at 145 k's per hour.
Well, he's so effective. We've seen him do this all over the world. The one delivery that stands out still was that one in Perth to Usman Khawaja, where it reverse swung back into him. But he's such a good exponent of reverse swing. South Africa have got a tape. They get reverse swing going wherever they play. They got it going in this game as well. And it's no coincidence that it also provides a big reason for their success.
And now we can add Ngidi to that as well. So there's Morkel, there's Rabada and Ngidi who can bowl that reverse brilliant, and obviously burn from time to time. Righto. And then we're going to have a look at, again, the reverse swing. I just want to point out here, we've got the degrees of swing here, we've got the overs here, so we're going to track the entire first innings, the new ball, and just a little bit past it. And just have a look at the swing here from the South Africans. And what's interesting to me here, Kepler, is you've got some swing, obviously, in this area, a little bit inconsistent at times. This is when they start saying, OK, we've got to start thinking about the reverse swing and get something else out of this ball. And then the taller buildings here, there's no doubt that's Rabada, that's also Ngidi as well, and it's also Morkel, the taller buildings, and not so much the other guys. But it's such a really good illustration, I think, of the way that South Africa get a bit of reverse, get a bit of conventional swing, identify and work on it, and then get some serious reverse swing going.
Well, what they're very good at is to identify when conventional swing stops, and then you can see them start working on the ball. They get that strategy going, and then about normally half an hour or so after they really start working on it, they start getting that reverse happening.
Righto. Good stuff, Kepler. Thanks very much. Pommy, I just got to tell you, mate, it's really, the aircon's beautiful up here, by the way. It's really comfortable. There might be a couple of cold beers just over here as well. I'm not sure, but anyway. Pom, back to you.
It's a beautiful breeze here too, so shush.
I was going to say, did you buy those beers? There you go, you see. They're going to be enjoying some drinks, whatever drinks they are. A few fines meetings as well, I'm sure. And coaching staff all together there. Otis Gibson and Dale Benkins. Oh, they're all standing up. What? Trying to make sure they're on camera, actually, I think. Okay, let's speak about the fast bowlers, you two fast men, and speak about number one, how it is, Sean Pollock. On commentary, I said many a time you'd say, what are you going to do when so-and-so is gone? What's going to happen when such and such has finished? It happened in the West Indies for a time, and it continues to happen in South Africa. How? Why?
I don't know. We've got a good conveyor belt.
That's an honest answer. Come on.
Well, we've got a conveyor belt, and I mean, the conditions suit fast bowling. So wherever you're playing club cricket or school cricket, it's nice to want to be a fast bowler. You watch the cricket that unfolds, and you see heroes who fast bowlers. So there's a lot that's done to give you motivation to want to be a big quick. I know that the T20 formats may be making people rethink about whether they want to be a big quick or not.
Don't turn to him about T20.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I clearly recognise I need to come away from that as soon as possible. Sorry, Mark. Yeah, sorry. But we produce, and I think that's the exciting thing in South African cricket for me over the last year or so, is what we've seen. We've seen Rabada, he's come through. We've seen Markram, we've seen Maharaj. Those are massive. Now we've seen Ngidi.
Lungi
Ngidi.
Okay.
So we've got four who all of a sudden we can build a team around. You know, you always do think, well, what happens when Morkel, Steyn, Philander, all those guys stop? I believe we now have something we can really work with from a fast bowling unit.
Okay, speak about why you think it is, Mikey, and perhaps you can draw back to when you played and as you grew up in the West Indies. In fact, I should say, as you grew up in Jamaica, and why there were many Jamaican fast bowlers and kept coming off the conveyor belt, to use Sean's term.
Yeah, it's the same thing that Polly is saying. It's about emulating what you see and the conditions under which you play. Not a lot of fast bowlers have come out of Trinidad and Tobago. Years gone by, they played on matting pitches. Even after they got rid of the matting pitches, the soil that they use in Trinidad and Tobago did not encourage fast bowlers. Encourage a little bit of seam around if you could, because they would leave a bit of grass on the surface, but did not encourage fast bowlers. Similar situation in Guyana. Guyana have not produced a lot of fast bowlers. Colin Croft, yes, good pace, but they have produced a lot of medium pace bowlers and some guys who can move the ball around if conditions suit. If you're playing on the hard pitches, where it encourages fast bowlers that when you run in and you bang the ball in, you get something out and you see the ball taking off and the wicketkeeper taking it nice and high, that encourages you as a young man to really want to bowl fast. If you bang the ball into the pitch and it's creeping along the ground, why would you want to bowl fast? And also, if you have a team that's winning, national team now, and that team is winning and they are using a particular form to win, you want to emulate that. And people, the coaches around, keep looking for things like that. Curtly Ambrose, for instance. Curtly Ambrose was playing basketball up to about 2 years before he played for the West Indies. He did not play under 19 cricket for the West Indies. He did not come through the system that a lot of other West Indian fast bowlers came through. But somebody saw him on the basketball court, 6'8" or something like that. West Indies were doing well with fast bowlers and said, hey, you could be a fast bowler. So he went and played cricket and became a fast bowler, became a great fast bowler. If you were to go to a youngster now, with the West Indies team not doing as well as you would like, and say to him, you could be a fast bowler, he may look at you and say, why? Okay. You know, it's a matter of circumstances and what is happening around you.
Give me a little word about Ngidi. We asked you about Rabada when you first saw him. Tell me what you like about Lungi Ngidi as you've seen in this test match.
The ease in which he does things. His run-up, so smooth, so rhythmical, doesn't seem to be taking a lot out of him. He's a strong man, but at the same time, he also, along with the space, has good control. You didn't see him spraying the ball over the place, but at the same time, it didn't seem to me as if he was trying to bowl that at the fastest, that he can bowl. But then again, maybe it's because it's so easy to him why it doesn't look that way. And that is big positive for Ngidi. Positives, I should say, for Ngidi. We'll just have to see how he develops and how he gets the ball to move around on good pitches.
Yeah, speak technique, Sean, and what you saw with regard to wrist. And also, I speak about that because he came back from a stress fracture at the back.
Yeah, I mean, I like he's got a braced front leg when he delivers. He bowls from the highest point. I mean, as a youngster, that's what you want to be teaching them. Wrist-wise, I think, as Marky referred to in the test match, we could probably get him to just get it in a different position to be able to shape it away from the right-handers with the new ball in hand. But that'll come in time. He'll get stronger. He'll get fitter. He'll get a better game plan for what he needs to do on certain surfaces. So for this as a start, gee, it's a great start for him. And he can only go from strength to strength, particularly as he learns. The thing for him, too, he's going to be learning on the international stage because he's just 9 first-class games before getting his debut. He's now in the mix, and I can see him playing, obviously, a lot of games for South Africa, and that's where he's going to learn. But he seems like a bright guy, too. He seems like a guy who absorbs everything. When I asked him about his first wicket, he said, well, he spoke to Vern at mid-off, and Vern suggested this. He tried it and picked up a wicket. Who in your first test match will be prepared to just try something that the senior pro suggests? So all the signs for him are fantastic. I think he's definitely going to be a star.
Is there ever a nice selection headache?
Yes.
Only for the guy who's not a selector.
Exactly.
Ask the West Indies with all their fast bowlers. They had selection headaches for about 15, 20 years.
Well, I wouldn't say we had selection headaches. You know, it was easier for the guys that were in the team to stay in the team. It was a lot more difficult for those who were out. And you didn't want to get injured when you're in the team because you knew the guys that were out, if they got in, you perhaps wouldn't get back into the team. So it was not selection headache for the selectors per se, but it was certainly a headache for the guys playing. Because you wanted to maintain your place and, you know, you're lots of people just nipping away at your heels.
Yep, and certainly the competition gets higher and higher and higher, and therefore the standards lift as well. Nice for South Africa, and it wasn't too long ago thinking when, who, why, how are they going to ensure that they keep those standards up. Many work hard behind the scenes and they need their food. They need to ensure that they've got their strength to move the cameras about, to ensure that they bring you these absolutely fantastic pictures. It's the crew. They're having lunch during the test. Welcome back, everybody. Just final touches as we go, and we're going to shift over to the Under-19 World Cup. South Africa playing over there, West Indies playing over there. And in fact, let's have a look at the match summary. Played in the first game, South Africa, and won quite comfortably, 100 for the captain in that one. And in this one, 99 not out for Makwetu, rescued them somewhat, got them to 282, and West Indies bowled out for 206. And so South Africa, a couple of wins for them, they'll be happy with that. But Pillay, 47, a little bit of an incident that occurred, and essentially it's about the laws of the game and not handling the ball. He defends a ball and it goes towards his stumps, and he picks it up and throws it to the fielder when he realizes it's not going to get to the stumps and there's no danger. the appeal happens, and away he goes. I'd like your thoughts, gents, about the spirit of the game. Not so much the laws, because we know the laws, and whether it is a grey area or not. Sean Pollock first.
Well, I think the spirit of the game can become a grey area at times, but I've seen that dismissal on social media, and that's an absolute load for me. He defends the ball, it pops out in the air, it starts to head back towards his stumps. He stops it with his bat like he's entitled to, and then he picks it up and gives it to the wicketkeeper. To appeal for that, I'm afraid to say, is nonsense. And the fact that he was given out is absolute nonsense as well. I mean, how many times in a test match or in games are balls there and you just pass it on and the game moves on? There was no ways that ball would ever have gone back onto the stumps. And to appeal for it, he was just trying to help them out by picking the ball up. It was disastrous. There it is. He stops it, just picks it up, throws it back to the keeper. The fact that they've even had a discussion, I think it's a load.
I can't blame the umpires though, Polly. The umpires have a job to do. If the law says that he's out, they have to give him out. The only thing the umpires can do is go to the captain and say, are you really serious about this? Are you really appealing? I'm giving you an opportunity to withdraw your appeal. But once the captain says, no, I'm appealing, I'm serious about this, the umpire has no option but to raise his finger and give him out. So I'm not going to blame the umpires. You'd have to say that as far as the spirit of the game is concerned, that was going outside of the spirit of the game. But the umpires, I'm not going to blame them at all. But as you said, the spirit of the game can have some grey areas. You know, I have been very critical about people who don't walk. I think that's in the spirit of the game as well. If you edge the ball, or if you even drive the ball into a man's hand, walk. What are you waiting on? The spirit of the game, you're out, walk. So that's a very grey area. People say you should stand and wait on the umpire to give you out.
So I guess, in essence, all that's gone on there is kind of, it's just what happens. We've got to look at it and say it's a part of cricket. Some will.
It should not be.
Some will and some won't. Because should we look at that as an appeal as okay?
No.
And should we look at that as not okay and look at the guy who stands there after he gets a faint one as okay?
None of them are okay as far as I'm concerned. That's what I'm saying. It's a very grey area. A lot of people will tell you, wait on the umpire to make his decision. That is why he's there. But as far as I'm concerned, that is outside the spirit of the game, to be edging the ball into people's hands and standing up.
Can we get to a place where the spirit of the game is part of the law of the game? Or is that impossible to legislate?
Well, you would hope so. You want to try and play it in the right spirit, and you want it to be fair and equal. And if I mean, just on that example, if you pick the ball up and the wicketkeeper turns around, the bowler turns around, they don't even think of appealing. The fact that someone's appealed, then you start to get the law involved. Okay, well, he's picked up the ball, so that could be classed as handling the ball. I think that just becomes messy. It really does become messy. And I agree with Mark. You know, there's a few grey areas. We've seen the man can, and that's in the laws as well.
The man can, yeah. Yes, West Indies again.
Yeah.
Last World
Well, I'm not looking at them. I'm not looking at them. But we did see that, and yeah, for me, the game needs to be played in a spirit where you're trying to put your best skills forward and you're trying to make sure your team wins with those best skills. To do it in a grey way or to try and get up an advantage by trying to hoodwink the system, no, I'm not convinced.
No, that man carding thing, I have a totally different opinion about the man card. No,
go on.
Because as far as I'm concerned, that guy is trying to cheat by taking those steps outside of the crease, trying to get an advantage. If he's trying to get an advantage, I'm going to show him, no. Play this game fairly. Stay where you are and run when the ball has been hit. If you're going to take 2 or 3 steps, what about 5, 6, 7 steps?
Right.
Stay where you are.
Right. Hold on. You're going to take me back because I was there for the incident.
I'm with you, Mikey.
You think he's fighting? I'll take you back, though, Mikey, because that's why I say spirit of the game, grey, and so forth. In fact, I'm thinking of Rabada here, who sort of just waltzed out of his crease as well, and Virat Kohli said, hey, I can throw the stumps down. He's got to wait for me to field it first. But he wasn't trying to take a run.
No.
In the case you're talking about, the guy waited. He was standing there and waiting and looking at the guy, waiting to run for him to release the ball. But it just so happened his bat was on the line, and bowler stopped and just whacked it, taking a chance.
You're talking about one specific incident.
Yes, one specific incident.
I'm talking about man-carded in general.
Yes. Fair enough.
I agree with you.
Do not leave your crease and take 3, 4 steps down the road. You're trying to run 18 yards when you should be running 22.
Like, it's like those guys who drive through on amber and red.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing.
Ticket.
We've got traffic policemen here. Goodness gracious. Okay, well, all right. I think what is proven by the discussions is just that the spirit of the game is very much a grey area, and perhaps we'll get to a time where things can be legislated in that the spirit of the game exists, is law in as far as cricket is concerned, and you can't do such things. Perhaps then give the umpires the ability to make a decision.
It's difficult to have law. I think it is important to teach. I believe in teaching. When people are coming through the system, you teach them what is right and what is expected and what is wrong. It's as simple as that. You can't legislate everything in a game or in life. Your parents taught you the right thing, Pommy. You don't have to go to jail to learn the right things. And I think it's a similar situation with kids coming through the system. They must be taught the right thing coming through the system so that when they get to the highest level or when they get to represent their clubs or their countries or whatever, they know what is acceptable.
My parents taught me the right thing.
Absolutely, I know that. I've been around you long enough to know.
But I don't always do the right thing.
Even though no one always does the right thing. But when you do not do the right thing, there's something going on in your head to say, you know, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. If you don't know the right thing, there's nothing going on in your head. And you'll keep on doing the wrong thing.
Fair enough. I think it's fair enough to leave it there. Let's finish off. And as far as the test match is concerned, there they are. Lungi Ngidi having a fantastic first test match. And what we'll do before we close up is bring you the Ram delivery of the day.
Outstanding stuff. Beauty. What a delivery that is. In the air and out. There it is. 6 for 6 wickets. 6 for Ngidi. Look at that smile. Brilliant stuff from the youngster, just 21 years of age. South Africa have found someone special. What a start to his international test career, and he's got a stump as well from the skipper.
What a moment for Lungi Ngidi. 6 for 39 on debut in the second innings. He's been absolutely superb. And you get the feeling that a star is born.
And there starts the celebrations. Now, his name, Ngidi, will be reverberating all around the world. There we go. Nice work from the skipper.
Special performance. We incredibly happy in that dressing room for him. He's a great guy and we welcome him to the team, and obviously an amazing future that lies ahead.
Outstanding stuff. Beauty. What a delivery that is.
Yes, there you go. Is watching to see how it went, to remember. He'll never forget it. He won't, will he? Fantastic to start that way, isn't it, Sean?
No, it's an amazing performance, and you think just go back for a week ago. He wasn't in the squad, gets included, now he's playing, now he picked up 6 wickets, he's on the honours board. Thanks for coming.
Man of the match.
Test cricket, bring it on.
Yeah.
And what happens when Dale Steyn gets back?
What did we say about...
That's the selectors' problem,
exactly.
not our problem.
What did we say about not being selectors and nice problems? Yeah, well, we'll discuss that when that test match comes around.
A little mention for Morne Morkel. What a catch, what a catch.
We've asked them.
Okay.
We've said to them, you've got to send us your tweets. Tell us which one was better. He's going Morne Morkel as well with that catch. You are asking all of them. We'll see what you all say at home. So there's one more test match to play, and it starts on the 24th of January. The third Sunfoil test match, and it comes to you from Johannesburg. We'll see what kind of pitch is prepared there. This one was spoken about quite a lot. Thank you very much, Mikey Holding. Thank you very much, Sean Pollock. Enjoy the rest. What is it? A week to rest?
6 days?
6 days, yeah.
3 days in the bush.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, three days in the bush. He loves his safaris. Mikey Holding, you're going to be at home, right?
Home Jerome.
Home Jerome. Right. Okay, thanks for watching. We hope you'll join us again next time. Goodbye. The crowd is ready for action, ready for high-octane cricket.
What a test match this promises to be. Conditions are magnificent. Had a fascinating test, an exciting test in Cape Town. And this one promises to be very much the same.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's a really good shot, this time in the gap. A good crowd in here as well, but 12,500 people are in to watch the action.
That's gone for 4. Well, it's nicely played. Again, just opening the blade.
Up in the air, and it lands. Oh, where are you going? Where are you going? Oh, Ferdinand Philander. It's day number 2, a day of fight for South Africa and for India. An opportunity to take the initiative. Beautifully played by Faf du Plessis.
It's Bowden looking to whip it on the onside. Middle stump has been knocked back. All out for 335. Once one. Direct hits. That could be out. I think that's out. I think that is magnificent. Ngidi. Absolutely magnificent from Ngidi, the debutant. He's buzzing. You see, he means business.
Just like that. Number 1 for Lungisani Ngidi.
One man that's standing firm for India, Virat Kohli.
This test match is set up. Not really sure which way it's going to go. Delicately poised.
Quick single. He liked that. Brilliant stuff from Virat Kohli. This has been an amazing knock. Magnificent stuff from King Kohli.
Yes, fabulous 100 that. One of the better 100s you will ever get to see. What an important innings this is in the context of the series.
We are so looking forward to today. Again, we'll say we're not entirely sure which way it will go.
Who can call it? Go in either direction.
Dicey game. Hope you can enjoy what's coming up.
When the opposition guy has scored 150, then you want to show you're not too far behind. That's a great, great incentive for AB de Villiers. If Virat can do it, I can do it as well.
That's nasty played. He calls for 2, but he's going to get 4 right off the middle of the bat from de Villiers. And he's gloved it. That ball just took off. De Villiers is looking to run it down to third man once again. And the breakthrough that India have been searching for. The big wicket of AB de Villiers.
In the air, what a catch. Good catch that. Bumrah, very good catch.
287 to get a record chase at SuperSport Park. However, records are meant to be broken.
Bowled them. Kept low inside their jaw to the stumps.
That's him. The finger will go up. Lungisani once again. Kohli, the big fish.
Doesn't get better for Ngidi on debut. Massive wicket of Virat Kohli.
We're greeted by another beautiful day in Centurion. It's the final day in the second Sunfoil Freedom Test between South Africa and India. The bowlers to come in and try and finish the job.
Someone's got to fight. That's the bottom line. Someone's got to fight for India.
I can't see India surviving 98 overs.
Goes after this one. It's in the air. Brilliant! Morne Morkel, you little beauty! He's covered all that ground. He's launched himself into the air. And have a look at the celebrations. What a bit of athleticism from Morne Morkel.
Cries of catcher, and it should be out. It is out. The debutant has got Pfeiffer. Magnificent stuff from Ngidi. Pfeiffer. What a day to remember. Massive stuff from the new guy.
You make me feel so so alive.